It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm assuming he might have been hurt. Obviously, this is optimism. He's saying it. Maybe he just doesn't care in the summer and he just gets bored. Who knows? But I do remember, if you look at his stats post Mitch Keller getting hit in the arm, a lot of things went down. Obviously, at the end of the season, he came back a little bit. I still think he has in him a 35 home runs, 900 OPS with his defense. That's a top 5 player in baseball.
The issue, I think, and I agree that maybe there was something in there. Kevin, you and I talked about that forever on the radio last year, and he vehemently, correct me if I'm wrong, Tatis denied that was an impact.
I asked, and everyone had other explanations besides that. All the tinkering, lifting the leg, not lifting the leg, hands here, hands here, hands here. Kind of a wavering focus. There's so many other explanations that, believe me, I never going to say never, but I just don't think that was it. But I just don't think that was it. But
and it's the overarching point that we've all kind of made is he has had an injury-riddled career. It excuses some of it, but at the end of the day, you have to be, when you're on the field, you need to produce. It's kind of the Manny Machado theory. Maybe he's the other, he's the complete 180 maybe. Now, it's not like Manny's hitting 40 home runs, but he's never been a 40 home run hitter. The one thing about Manny is when he's out there by and large, he's helping you. Now, he was on tired legs. Obviously, in the second half last year, he wouldn't take a day off. It wasn't his best offensive season, but he kind of hung in there, and the numbers speak for themselves. The back of the baseball card, saying that Manny Machado would always go with. But that's my thing. It's kind of like if you're out there, you have to be able to produce. When you're a player of the caliber of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, that's what people are asking. It's hard because the fans don't know what the players, are dealing with. So when you're on the field, the expectation is to perform.
And that's I appreciate it.
Sorry, Kevin.
I appreciate it, Matt, because you are thinking about that. And because that is so true that these guys go through stuff I don't know about, certainly that people that aren't allowed in the clubhouse don't know about. The one thing about this one is this is the kind of thing that comes out after the season. This is the kind of thing that comes out the next spring training where I go, why couldn't you have told me that last year when I was asking you 10 times? It hasn't come out. It hasn't been talked about. Tatis has taken it all on himself. Yeah, I just think that's who he was last year.
I'm not sure if it was your report or someone came out with a report over the weekend, and it might have been Tatis talking about perspectives on hitting coaches and kind of having a new perspective going into this season. And I think he kind of gave a little bit of a low blow to Victor Rodriguez. And he was kind of like, hey, we have a more modern approach, today than we did last year. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know, Kevin, if you have any intel on that. And obviously I know you're obviously less privy to saying stuff because you see these people in real life.
No. Hey, look, I wrote the story, and yes, and I tried to put some context in there of, they did rank in the top 10 in all these categories over 2 years with Victor Rodriguez. And it was a story about the new coaching staff, the new manager. They have more coaches that have retired in the last 5 years than any other major league team. Retired as players. Players are digging it. That doesn't mean that it's going to be better, that Steven Souza last played in 2022 and that Victor Rodriguez saw 90-mile-an-hour fastballs at the height of his career, and Steven Souza saw exactly what Tatis is seeing, which is 98, 99, 100 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. So the story was that, and yes, Tatis, to a certain extent, didn't feel like he got all of the feedback he got, but he was also sure to say that he's not blaming Victor. Without a doubt, all the players are very excited about having Steven Souza Jr. as a guy who kind of was in the trenches with them, that saw the exact same things they did. Now, look, the other thing I know, having covered 9 hitting coaches, is that when the new guy comes in, there's always good stuff said and all that, But yes, Tatis did throw Victor under the bus a tiny bit.
Which, by the way, I find interesting because, Manny Machado has had how many hitting coaches from Baltimore, LA, San Diego? I mean, throw a number out, 11 in 14 years. It's
Sure.
10. Let's just say 10. Yet every year is the same. It's 280, it's 800. It's not to discount the importance of a coach. I understand the value. It's like not to discount the importance of a manager. I understand the value. But also when you get $300 million contracts, you're not reliant on the year-to-year hitting coach as much as you're relying on your own, self-accountability. Now, again, you want to get the information that is important. You want it to be delivered in the right manner that you can then apply. No doubt. It has value. But players like Juan Soto and Manny Machado and presumably Fernando Tatis Jr., their numbers got to speak for themselves regardless of whether they were traded, what team they play for, who their hitting coach is. That's kind of when you have statute contracts or deals like this. I mean, you're responsible for your success or failure beyond anyone else, right?
Yeah. And look, a hitting coach, I mean, I got a story coming out on the hitting coach, talked to a lot of people. It's just, first off, it's the greatest turnover of any position on MLB staffs, not just the Padres, though they do lead the league in hitting coaches over the last 10 years. But it's also, if the player goes well, it was the player. If the player doesn't go well, it was the hitting coach.
100%.
That's ridiculous. So, John, you nailed it. Nothing more to say. Yes.
One last thing on Tatis before we get into our next topic. I'm looking at his Baseball Savant right now. Obviously, if anybody watching at home, free site, just look up Tatis Baseball Savant.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what you want to see on that is a lot of red, right? And if you look at Fernando Tatis's 2025 percentile rankings, almost all of it is red, and it's very high. You got 92, 93. Everything's great. One area of his Baseball Savant is terrible, and that's his launch angle sweet spot. He has probably one of the lowest launch angle sweet spots of any of the big name people in baseball right now.
Yep.
If I'm Steven Souza, and this is coming from a fan, right? I'm in Texas. Come on, these people, this is their livelihoods. This is what they do. They know this more than me. But from the fans' perspective, come on. I feel like that's a pretty simple thing. Hey, figure out a way to get this guy to hit the ball where he needs to be hitting it. Hey, launch angle, get that baby up. He was hitting 115 mile per hour ground balls to Bobby Witt Jr. That's not getting people in the seats. Congrats, you hit it hard. But if it's a ground ball to shortstop or a ground ball to second base, it's not doing much. I need that Tatis that, hey, if he strikes out a couple more times, so be it. Give me 35 home runs. That is who gets people in the seats. That's when the Padres, every time I check my credit card once a month, when the tickets seem like they go up every month, even though it's only once a year, that's who they sell the tickets for. They don't sell it for the hard ground balls. They sell it for the home runs. So hopefully Souza and the team can get Tatis to lift the ball in the air a little bit. But very excited. And if the World Baseball Classic is any indication of what we got from Tatis in 2026, we're going to have a good time.